Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webcast, Becoming Data-Driven with Modern BI Technologies. My name is Brooke Bacon, Marketing Coordinator with the GSI, and I am also very pleased to welcome our main presenter, David Kettinger. David is a Senior Data Analytics Consultant for Preferred Strategies, an organization dedicated to helping JD Edwards ERP customers successfully analyze JDE data using market-leading BI and analytics software platforms such as Microsoft Power BI. David's specialties include business intelligence strategy, advanced analytics, automated machine learning, training and user adoption, research and development, data visualization, data analytics, Microsoft BI, and Oracle ERP. David has a master's in information systems and a bachelor's in finance and real estate. David is a highly valued team member that leads presentations and webinars to help JD Edwards customers access data and empower business users with enterprise BI and self-service analytics capabilities. And now, before we get started, I just want to give you a chance to review our safe harbor statement. And now for a quick overview of today's meeting, which will last about 60 minutes. First, we'll take a moment to go over a couple of housekeeping items, as well as provide a brief company overview. Then I will turn it over to David to get into our main presentation, which will last about 40 minutes. Then we will take a minute to go over a couple of our upcoming educational events, and then we'll wrap up with a 10-minute question and answer session. Now, if you'd like to submit a question, you can do so through the questions panel at the bottom of the GoToWebinar console window located on the right side of your screen. Please note that all questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. So if you would like to minimize your GoToWebinar console during the presentation, just click the right-facing arrow key on the top left of the console. Clicking the left arrow key will return the console so that you can input your questions. Now, I would like to give you a brief overview of GSI. We are a full-service JD Edwards consulting organization. We are an Oracle Platinum partner that was founded in 2004 and now has over 100 employees. We have offices nationwide and are recognized in the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies in the US. And we specialize in project consulting, managed services, and cloud and hosting services, with all of our services backed with a 100% guarantee. We also provide a broad spectrum of business, functional, and technical consulting services for Oracle NetSuite, Oracle Cloud, Salesforce, ServiceNow, and other enterprise applications. And in addition, we are a product development company that has many popular products, including Genius, which is our advanced monitoring and performance analytics solution for JD Edwards or any business critical system on any platform. Genesis, which is our load and stress testing application for system design, validation, or expansion for JD Edwards or any web-based business critical system. G Shield, which is our comprehensive security solution for JD Edwards, including password reset and two-factor authentication. Rapid Reconciler, which allows you to effectively manage your inventory in transit and R&B reconciliation processes for any version of Enterprise One or World. And Rapid Approval, which is our Salesforce AppExchange solution that streamlines the approval request process. We also provide a broad spectrum of business and functional and technical consulting services. All right, so thank you for your time there, and I would like to turn things over. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. We also have a poll question for today. And before we get started, you will see a poll come up on your screen. And just take a moment to answer that for us. And once we get everybody's votes in, we will move into David's portion of the presentation. Okay, great. It looks like most everybody has voted, so we will move into our, I will turn things over to David. David, can you see the poll?
I can, yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so let me just change. There we go. I can see your screen.
Awesome.
Thanks.
All right, well, thank you, Brooke, for having me today, and thank you everyone for joining our webinar. In this presentation, I'll discuss some of the key elements of becoming a data-driven organization, and then we'll look at how a modern BI platform such as Power BI can help with this initiative. All right, so a little bit about myself. I started my career analyzing financial investments, and after seeing how rapidly the analytics field was evolving, I decided to really take the leap into data analytics when I pursued my MIS degree at the University of Colorado. And since then, I've been working with many of the industry standard data platforms and really keeping a constant pulse on the evolution of these tools. So the agenda for today is really to review what it means to be data-driven. We'll discuss some of the challenges involved as well as some of the strategies to overcome these hurdles. I'll provide an overview of preferred strategies, and then we'll take a look at the current BI and data analytics market. Then we'll jump into a demo of how the Power BI can help companies become data-driven. And then I'll introduce our quick launch for JD Edwards solution and open it up for questions at the end. All right, so the term data-driven refers to companies that make use of analytics based on information technology, data collection, and data analysis as the primary resource for information. So these days, gut instincts are no longer enough if you want to remain competitive. Most successful businesses realize that data should lie at the heart of any organization's decision-making process. So why do we want to use data for making decisions? Some of the key reasons to use data to sort of augment intuition include, just staying competitive. So as with previous technological advances, companies that do not adopt these new technologies and change their business models are often left behind. So why should we think that data analytics is any different? The next is data-driven companies are more customer focused. They have deeper insights into the customer and in the customer's journey. So for example, we can use customer data to find out different customer behaviors and buying patterns, which helps us adjust our marketing and our promotions, as well as help us predict our inventory levels. And it's really just more cost effective. It can be really costly to store large volumes of data, especially if you're only using it for compliance purposes. So, why not put this data to work for us and use it to create a competitive advantage rather than just having it as a liability? The next reason is really to detect new or missed opportunities. So using AI and machine learning, we can process vast amounts of data and start to detect patterns in large data sets. And this allows us to find insights that were previously impossible or very time consuming for humans to find. Then the last reason is it really helps us become more agile and better able to respond to market changes and innovation. With access to better data and actionable information, businesses can spot trends quicker and then adapt their business processes accordingly. So according to an interesting report published by the McKinsey Global Institute, data-driven companies are 23 times more likely to get customers than companies that ignore data analytics. So that's not 25 or 50% more likely. That's 2,300% more customers gained just by using data to make more informed decisions. So some of the most common barriers to becoming data-driven include really a lack of executive support and a formal analytics strategy. So trust and culture are two big roadblocks for any organization looking to utilize analytics. And typically, it's easier to move forward with analytics if a business executive is on board. This person can really help set the tone and the vision in order to get buy-in across the entire enterprise. And the next challenge is really difficulty accessing and integrating necessary data. So it's often hard for an organization to achieve insights if it can't access the right data. Sometimes this is a technology challenge where the organization doesn't have the tools in place to integrate the data. And other times it's a skills issue in terms of putting the right people in place to bring this data together. And the next challenge is a lack of data literacy. This is really the skills to build out business intelligence models and processes, as well as the skills to perform, understand, and use analytics to support decisions and ultimately take action. The next challenge is around data quality issues. So as the old saying goes, garbage in, garbage out. And this is really true with data analytics. So aspects such as accuracy, data integrity, timeliness, reliability, and consistency are all really important considerations here. And then lastly, the challenges around data governance and security. So research indicates that organizations are most successful when analytics, successful with analytics when business and IT work together to provide guidance for governing the data. And this includes, determining a common data vocabulary and business metric definitions, as well as policies about who can access what data. So as a data analytics consultant, the main scenario I see when working with clients is illustrated by this comment called the Wizard of Excel. And many companies use these very robust, complex spreadsheets requiring tons of manual data manipulation with VLOOKUPs everywhere and complicated formulas. And there are really many scary issues with this approach. The first and obvious one is it's really time consuming and it takes people away from other productive tasks that they could be accomplishing. Next, if Fred from finance is your go-to data guy, what happens if Fred gets sick or suddenly quits, and then you have to pick up where he's left off with his complicated data solution? And then most importantly, though, is there really no checks and balances? So how do you know you can trust the data? What validation methods are in place? And what if there's a mistake in a formula and you're using this information to make really important business decisions? And this is really the state of analytics at most companies today, where IT controls all of the data. So these are like corporate data sources such as JD Edwards ERP. You have your enterprise performance management, FP&A systems, as well as CRM applications and operations and supply chain data. And if business users want to make a data-driven decision, they really have to make a request to IT, and then IT could take days or weeks to give business users a generic report or a large extract of data. And then, as we just saw, if the business users are savvy enough, they'll spend hours in Excel massaging this data, only to have to do it all over again next week or next month. So, how can we keep our business users from begging IT for data insights? And that's really, where becoming a data-driven organization comes into play. So there's really two perspectives that we need to look at. There's the organizational considerations and then the technological considerations. So from an organizational perspective, companies need to focus on formalizing leadership strategies to drive analytics. Leaders are responsible for ensuring that things get done, and they set the vision and tone for the organization. So they can help prove the value of using data for decision making, as well as putting the proper funding and organizational structures in place. The next is establishing a corporate culture that understands, trusts, and leverages data. So this includes helping employees develop the skills needed to use the tools, engaging them in critical thinking about the data, and then training on how to use analytics to ultimately make decisions. Furthermore, organizations really need to empower the users to apply data analytics to solve their business problems, as well as create incentives to get them to do so. And then lastly, we have, we need to create governance rules and policies that set how an organization protects the data as they collect and report and analyze and share information. So this includes personal information as well as data regarding finances and strategy and intellectual property. Also, consideration must be given to how the quality of data is managed and producing standardized data terminologies and business logic that can be reused across the entire organization. And then from a technology standpoint, we need to have some elements in place to become data-driven. And this is really providing modern BI tools to our users. These need to be easy to use, that people actually want to use in their daily activities. They can't be difficult with a huge learning curve. So they sort of need to be these clicky, draggy, droppy type of no-code interfaces. And the next is really to enable business users to explore data and find insights to answer their questions. And this is, developing a self-service data discovery platform. And the final piece of this puzzle is to build a single source of truth, or a single version of the truth, which provides users with a modern governed data repository with clean data along with verifiable business logic, so that when Bob and Sally go to a meeting, they're not arguing over whose gross profit figures are right. So Preferred Strategies was established in 2002, and we are focused on bridging the gap between JD Edwards and the market-leading BI and data analytics software platforms. We've built out our quick launch solution with three main components, and the first is a software that's tailored to JD Edwards. And then we couple that with best practices and strategies around data analytics and business intelligence. And then we combine those with professional services to help maximize the success of your projects and really help drive the adoption of analytics within your company. All right, so which BI tool should you choose? This is the Gartner Magic Quadrant, and every year they come out with this BI and analytics platform review where they look at the top tools available. And the goal here is to be in the leaders quadrant, which is the farthest to the upper right-hand corner as possible. And you can see that we have Microsoft, Tableau, and Qlik as the only leaders in this quadrant. And we've standardized on Microsoft because it's the easiest to use. It's the most competitive from a pricing standpoint, and it's already integrated with popular Office tools such as Excel and PowerPoint, which really aids in getting users on board and driving adoption. All right, so now for the fun part. In today's demo, we'll look at how we can take a free tool from Microsoft called Power BI Desktop and connect it to JD Edwards. And first we'll try to connect directly to a JDE transaction database and see what that experience is like. And then we'll shift gears and connect to JD Edwards using our quick launch solution and start building out some professional looking reports and dashboards to answer common business questions. And then lastly, if we have time, I will show you what the experience is like consuming analytics in the cloud with the Power BI Cloud service. So let me jump over to any modern web browser, and if you go to powerbi.com, you'll see you have the option to either sign in or sign up for free in the top right. So if you choose the sign up for free option, you'll see this link to download the Power BI Desktop application. And so this is a free download, and Power BI Desktop is a great application for connecting to various data sources, and then it's a very powerful data modeling tool, and then it's also great for creating rich visualizations and reports on top of your data. So once you download that and get it installed and open it up, you'll see this splash screen. And from here you can go to Get Data, and this is going to launch the modern Get Data experience from Microsoft, which you can see has a lot of different options for me to connect to different data sources here. So if I choose databases, I can see I have SQL Server, I have Oracle, and I have DB2, which are the three database platforms that JD Edwards runs on. And then, I also have other options to connect to Azure and other online services like Dynamics and Salesforce and Google Analytics. And and a lot of social platforms. And really this list gets expanded on every week and every month. So I'm gonna come back here to databases, and my JDE production system is running on SQL Server, so I'll choose that database and connect. And so here I'd have to know as the analyst or the business user the server name and database that the transaction system is located. So I'm going to choose SQL demo here and choose OK. All right. So I'm going to choose the JDE production database here. And if we scroll through this database, you'll start to notice we have these common schemas, the prod CTL, and then you have the prod DTA schemas with the table aliases that JD Edwards uses to store all of its data. So if I'm trying to maybe build out a sales report by item, I would have to know as the analyst that the sales order history table is the 42119, and if I type that in to the search bar at the top, we can go ahead and check that table to load into Power BI. And then if I want to break this out by item, I'd have to know that the item branch is the 4102 table, and then I can choose to load that as well. So once I have those two tables, I'm going to go ahead and just choose load here. And what that's going to do is query our transaction database and pull in all the records or the rows in those two tables and basically create a data model within the Power BI desktop application that I can start to begin creating analysis from. So once that loads up here, we can go ahead and expand this sales order history table. And once we do that, you'll notice all of the cryptic column names that the JD Edwards uses. So here, again, I'd have to know as the analyst that the SDA EXP field is really my sales extended price or my sales amount. And maybe we'll change this into a data card here. And so now we can see we have $20.4 billion in sales, but maybe as the analyst, I know that we're along the lines of a $20 million company. So this is where I'd have to maybe call up IT and figure out that well, JD Edwards doesn't store numbers with decimal precision. So then I'd have to build in some logic to handle that here. So let's say I got that figured out, and now I want to break this out by a different product. Or my different product, excuse me. Let's go ahead and change this back to a column chart. And again, we've got these cryptic column names here. So which one is my item field? If I was a savvy JDE veteran, I could know that the IBL ITM field is my item. So I can bring that in as the axis. And then we'll see that we've created a visual, but it's not really making sense because all of my items appear to have this same $20.4 billion sales amount. So if we pop over here to the relationships view of the Power BI desktop, you'll notice that we have our two tables here. However, they're not related or joined. So now I'd have to have some experience or knowledge about data modeling in order to create some primary keys or some surrogate keys in order to join these tables properly. So you can quickly see this is becoming a very complex task. So let's go ahead and switch gears now, and I'm going to just go up here to File, New, and now we'll look at how we can connect to JD Edwards using the Quick Launch solution by Preferred Strategies. So instead of connecting to a SQL Server, I'm going to actually connect to a SQL Server Analysis Services database. And that is the high performance in-memory analytical database from Microsoft. It's been around for quite a long time. And I'm going to go ahead and choose Connect. And same thing here, I'll need to know the server name. Go ahead and type in that here and then choose OK. And now you can see I have two different data models available here. So you'll notice that I have many different perspectives of the data model. And a perspective is really just a subset of the data model that focuses around a particular business area or analytics initiative. So if I choose the sales perspective here and choose OK, what that's going to do is load up all the dimensions and facts that I'm going to need in order to analyze sales information from JD Edwards. So if we come in here, we can see we have these business-friendly table names, and if I come in here to the customer and hover over it, we'll see the data lineage back to JD Edwards, and same thing for maybe like the customer name. We can see that lineage back to the source system, and that way we can, two things: we can ensure that we're analyzing the fields that we're intending to analyze, as well as start to build trust in the data model as the user. So continuing on with that sales by item example, if I come over here to the sales fact table, you notice that we have a lot of predefined measures already out of the box here with the quick launch tabular model. So if I, things like gross profit and quantity measures, as well as sales amount, and if I expand the display folder for sales amount, you'll notice that we have a lot of business logic built in, such as month to date, year to date, prior year values, as well as variances already built into the solution. So now I just have to add maybe my sales amount here. I can come up to my item branch table and then choose to bring in my item and description as the axis here. And within a couple clicks, I've now just created that this visualization to answer that question. So, I can see my curved TVs, and it looks like our Gear Fit Pro, or these are all the top performing products that we have. And we've actually taken it a step further, and as part of the quick launch solution, we deliver Power BI templates. So this is a great way to enable self-service business intelligence. So if we open up one of our template files here, you'll notice that we've already standardized on a report theme that incorporates your report theme for all of your different colors that you use for your company, as well as it's already standardized the slicer format settings. So we have our slice. We have our slicers for time values up at the top here, and then we have some dimension slicers over here on the left. And then we could also standardize our corporate branding here. So if we want to, bring in our approved logos and maybe some metadata, we can do that already here using this template. So let's go ahead and say we want to, figure out the sales status within our organization. So I can just give this report a new name here, call it sales status. And then I can come down here and we'll rename this page. So in a Power BI report, you can have one or more pages in order to tell your story. So the last thing I'll need to do to get this thing set up is come here to File and Save As, and we'll just save this as the sales status report. And now we're ready to start creating some analysis here. So if I click on this sample visual that was part of the template, you'll see that I have the sales amount selected as my value, and Power BI is saying, hey, that's from the sales fact table. So if I go in here, maybe we want to add our prior year value as well. So once I click on that, you'll see that now it looks like we're doing a bit better year to date through period 9 of 2018 than we're doing in the prior year. And let's go ahead and bring in a different dimension, maybe around customer. So if I click on our customer table here, I can bring in the customer name to the axis. And now quickly I can see that Best Buy and Costco seem to be our top performing customers here. So the last thing I'll do is just come over here to this format option and choose title and give this a new name. Call this sales by customer. And the cool thing about Power BI is I can just start copying and pasting visuals and in order to really build out these reports quickly. So let's say that we want to change this up now, and maybe we'll look at our sales by our channel. So I can just bring that right in above customer name, and maybe we want to look at this as a different visualization type. So I can choose maybe the donut chart here, and you can see, well, maybe having two values, two measures as the values doesn't make much sense. So what I can do is just drag this prior year down to the tooltips, and now as my users hover over these different data elements in the visual, they'll get the prior year value as well as the current year. So I'm going to go ahead and just rename this visual to be sales by channel, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll just copy and paste this. And let's say that we now want to break out our sales by our different products. So what I can do is let's look at this as a scatter chart. So just with that visual selected, I'll just choose the scatter chart visualization, and we'll come back and change the data fields that are driving this. So I'll get rid of channel and customer, And let's go ahead and find our item branch table. And let's look at let's put some data points for our product subgroups as the details, and we'll legend this by our different product groups. And maybe I want to open this up in focus modes so that we can see it a bit better. And then we'll go and bring in some different measures from our fact table. So if I come down here to the gross profit display folder, I can bring in our gross profit percent selected. I can see what how that measure is defined to make sure that it's accurate and it's what I expected to use. And I could choose that as the y-axis. And now you'll see we're getting our sales dollars on the x-axis and our gross profit percent on the y-axis. Maybe we want to bring in our gross profit dollars in as the size here, so we can see these data points a bit better. And maybe the last thing I want to do is change up the formatting a bit to add some category labels so I can see what these data points are. And then the last thing we'll change this to be sales by product. All right, so this is looking much better. Let's say that one of our colleagues says, hey, well, what television items are selling the best within that subgroup? Well, now I can just, with these self-service BI tools, I can simply drag that in as the product, as the data hierarchy. So if I come here to item branch, I can grab my item description, drag it right underneath product subgroup, and then all I need to do is just right click and drill down. Now I'm going to get all the different items broken out within this television product group. So I can see my curved TVs have high sales dollars but lower margins, and I have a cluster of televisions up here that seem to have high margins but lower sales. So maybe I want to focus my promotion and advertising campaigns around some of these higher margin products in order to drive more sales and ultimately more profits. So I'm going to come back, drill up using this little left arrow at the top, and then go back to the report. So this is looking better. The last thing I want to do is build out a little trend time series analysis. So I'll copy and paste this visual, just drag it down to the bottom of our canvas and expand it to be the full width. And now we'll just change this to be a line chart, which is good for time series, and we'll get rid of customer name since that doesn't make a lot of sense. And if we come up here to our calendar table, so as part of the quick launch solution, we support standard calendars as well as multiple fiscal calendars. So whatever your company uses, we support that as part of the out of box quick launch solution. And we also give you the ability to just add a filter to the report and switch between maybe standard and 445 or whatever you need for your analysis. So I'm going to go and grab your I'm going to grab your period as the axis. And now you can see I'm showing period 9 of 2018, which is actually what we have selected here. But what I need to do is edit the way these visuals are interacting with each other. So I can do that by selecting the period number slicer and come here to format, edit interactions, and now I can just go ahead and turn the interaction off for this this trend visual at the bottom here. So now we're getting all of our period buckets. Let me go ahead and just turn that back off, and we'll resort this so it makes a little bit more sense. So we'll sort this by our year period here. Maybe do it one more time and sort this ascending. And now you can see that this is looking a lot more logical here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just change this real fast to be sales trends. And then as we start to click around, and maybe we want to adjust this to period 11. You can see that everything's going to update to show me year to date for 2018 through period 11. Maybe I want to come in here and change this to be month to date instead of year to date. And then you'll see all of my values are recalculated on the fly here. And similar, I could come in here and maybe we just want to look at our appliances product group and see how those are performing. So I can quickly start to slice and dice this data based on my analysis needs here and the questions that I need to answer. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and clear that. And so now let's say we want to build out a new page of our report. So I could come down here to this sales status page and just choose to duplicate it so we can maintain all of the effort we did for formatting and we don't have to recreate all that. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete some of these visuals. And let's say now that we want to analyze sales rep performance. So go ahead and just change this this page title, change up this tab down here, and now we're ready to start building out some information around my sales rep performance. So one of the ways I like to look at that particular analysis is via a waterfall chart. So I'm going to go grab that visualization type from the visualizations pane, and just you can see that now it's in a waterfall visual. And the next thing I need to do is come down and grab my sales rep dimension and bring that into the visual. So maybe you want to build out a quick hierarchy, go sales rep to customer name, and then maybe we'll grab product group and product subgroup. So quickly build out a sales hierarchy here. And then the next thing we'll do is just change this title. So this will be sales by sales rep, right? Okay, so lastly, to get this visual configured properly, let's grab one of our variance measures that come out of box. So if I scroll down here, I can see I have some sales amount versus prior year measures, and if I hover over that, it's saying, well, let's take sales amount and subtract the prior year value, so I can quickly see this is my year-over-year variance. And I'll just drag that into the y-axis, and now I can start to see the variances come through here. So the next thing I'll do is just sort this by my measure here. And now we can see we have, Mary and Robert seem to be doing better compared to last year. Then we have some people that have some issues. Like, so if we drill into Jason Lee, we can see, okay, within Jason Lee, it looks like he's having some issues selling to Costco and Best Buy. So, what can we do to, strengthen his sales efforts now? I'm going to drill back up here, and the next thing I'll show you is how we can leverage custom visualizations within Power BI. So I'm just going to resize this visual a little bit and then copy and paste it. A custom visual in Power BI is really just a way to extend the out-of-box visuals that are delivered with the Power BI platform. So if I come up here to this ellipsis in the visualization pane, I can choose to import a custom visual. I'll choose the import from Marketplace. And this is these are visuals that are created by either the Microsoft community or Microsoft themselves, and there's a lot of options here, some powerful visualizations to make sure you get the right visual that you need. If you choose advanced analytics, there's a lot of advanced statistical analysis capabilities through these different visualization types. So I, as the business users, perhaps don't need to know how to code some R scripts or Python scripts to take advantage of some of these more advanced statistical visualizations. I'm going to come down here to editor's pick, and the one we'll work with today is narratives for BI, and I'll choose add, and you'll notice now that I have this new visualization type available to me. Narratives are actually using natural language processing, machine learning algorithms to to basically create natural language narratives of our analysis. So I'm gonna choose to switch this visualization to the narratives custom visual, and maybe we'll change up some of the data fields that we're looking at for this narrative. So I'm gonna bring in our sales amount, and maybe we'll look at our gross profit margin as well. So I'll come here to gross profit percent and bring that in as a value as well. And now it's going to say, how do you want to describe your data? So we're going to go ahead and just train this machine learning algorithm a bit. So I'll choose the discrete option here and write the narrative. And within a few clicks, now I have this natural language generation visual that can help aid my analysis here. So now I'm going to start to tailor this a bit to make it more user friendly. So you can see total sales amount is 230,000 across all 8 entities. So I can come in here and change up how this is being written. Maybe I want to have it in a more summary bulleted list format. And then I could come in here to customize the actual visual itself. So I can hit this gear icon and change up how the algorithm is writing this narrative. So Instead of entities, let's call it sales reps, and the plural will obviously be sales reps. And we can also change the characterization of the measures. So if we choose sales amount selected, well, this is going to be money, and more money is typically good. And we will sum these across our different dimension values. And then I will choose gross profit percent, and this is going to be a percent, and more gross profit is definitely good. And I'm not going to summarize this percent across my dimensions here. So I can go ahead and do some more customization. Maybe I want good changes to show up in green and bad changes to show up in red. So we can take this as far as we'd like. I'm going to come back to my report here. And so now we have this narrative that my users can maybe gain some insights that maybe they wouldn't have thought of before, or would have taken them longer to do so. So the last thing I'll build out here is a details page. So let's say that we want to be able to drill from more aggregated levels of data down to more detailed levels of data. So what I can do is leverage this drill through filters option here in the visualizations pane of the Power BI desktop, and I'm going to go ahead and just delete these two visualizations here. And let's go ahead and add a few dimensions here. So let's add our customer name. Maybe we'll grab our channel, and we'll grab a few fields from our item branch table. So I'll come here and grab the product group, as well as the item and description. And then let's add some information from our fact table. So let's grab the sales amount, and we haven't looked at quantities yet. Let's go to quantity ordered and bring in our quantity order value as well. I could resize this table a bit. So I'll just expand this to be a bit larger. And maybe we have, I want to bring in a few other dimensions from our fact table, maybe our order date and our order number. So within a few clicks now, I have some more granular levels of detail here. So in order to set up the drill through for this report here, I can bring in some dimensions that I used on my first page, which was the sales status page. And I'm going to bring in our customer name as a drill through filter, and we'll bring in channel as a drill through filter, and maybe some other information such as product group and product subgroup. So once I've added those, I'll scroll down and show you. So all these have been added to as drill through filters that now we can utilize throughout the report. So another thing that's been done is the Power BI created this back button to kind of help aid in user navigation. So I can just change this maybe to be more similar to a link, such as a blue color. And if I come back to sales status, you'll see now that if I right click, let's say I want to figure out what are the more detailed sales entries around our Costco sales. So I can right click on Costco and then choose drill through to details. And now Costco is going to get passed through as a filter to this drill through report, so that now I'm just looking at sales to Costco. I can see via the different channels here. Maybe I want to sort this by my sales amount here, so I can see our larger sales orders for Costco. So that's a easy way to go from higher levels of information down to more detailed levels of information here in Power BI. I can choose to go back here. And this is now looking pretty good. Let's say that I want to share this with some of my colleagues. Maybe I got a meeting. I want to present these visuals in. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this to the Power BI service. And the Power BI service is the software as a service cloud component of the Power BI platform that gives you rich sharing and collaboration features. So once that's successfully published, I'll choose to open that up, and this is going to launch my environment of the Power BI service. So we can see that exact same report now in any modern web browser, or even the Power BI mobile application for your smartphone or your tablets. So let's say I'm in a meeting and one of the managers says, hey, I want to be able to drill, I want to see what my sales by product group are for my retail channel. Well, I can easily just edit this report here, and just choose that visualization. And then the same thing here, I just go grab the dimension that they want to look at. So let's grab product group in here, drag it under channel. And now if I right click into retail and drill down, I'll be able to say, okay, well, it looks like TV and home theater and mobile product groups are making up most of my sales for my retail channel. So I'll go ahead and just drill back up here. Another thing, what if they want to see some KPIs on this report? I can even change the visualization types here by just selecting the KPI visual, and we'll resize this a bit. Maybe get rid of customer name and grab our year dimension from our calendar table. Just bring that in as the trend axis. Now we can see sales amount for this year is actually not as much as our sales amount for the prior year, which is our target goal here. So next thing I can do is just rename this to be sales KPI. And then I'll copy and paste this and just create a quick gross profit KPI. So just bring that down here, and then I'll go and find my my gross profit measures from my fact table. So I'll come in here to the sales, go to gross profit, and then I'll grab my gross profit percent here, just drag those right into the field wells, and then I can start to see my my gross profit numbers. Maybe I'll change the title to be gross profit percent. And now I can see my sales dollars are down compared to last year, but my margins are actually up 8.5%. So again, I can start to maybe change this to year to date and see how we're doing year to date through period 11. Looks like we're actually doing better for both KPIs. So you can see how easy it is to create these type of ad hoc reports using Power BI. And this is really the self-service, the data discovery mode of data analytics. But Power BI is also a very powerful platform for enterprise BI. So maybe you have some dashboards and performance monitoring that you'd want to do, sort of like traditional dashboarding and scorecarding in the past. And we have some examples of that built out. So I can actually come up to my sales workspace, which is just an environment in the Power BI service for related dashboards and reports and data sets. And so if I click on one of these other reports here, we can open up a more professional looking dashboard and just open this in full screen mode. And now let's say I'm the VP of sales, this is what, something I'm looking at every day, every week. And I can do some pretty sophisticated stuff. So I can start, maybe I want to update the measure that I'm looking at. So instead of analyzing all of my visuals by revenue, I want to look at actually cost. And you can see all of the visualizations are going to update based on this selected measure here. So now we're on profits. Maybe I want to look at profits for 2018. I can select 2018. Maybe I want to look at Q1 and Q2. I can select Q2 here, and now I can bring in some more time, some time frames into this dashboard or report. So another thing, maybe I'm interested in California, how California is doing. I can select California here, and you'll see all the visualizations will update to just show me, performance for California. So same thing here. If we want to be able to drill, we can set these up to drill down. So now I can see again going from my sales channels down to my product groups, or maybe I want to go from see who's selling within my central regions. I can drill down into that and start to see, okay, well, it looks like Robert's doing pretty well for central. I can click on that and then see all the information around Robert's performance. We have some other examples here. So maybe you want to we have a sales overview report that our VP of sales uses as well. We have some KPIs along the top here with some spark lines. Maybe we want to adjust the time frame. Maybe he wants to look at roughly 18 months instead of 12. We can just adjust this time slider here. And maybe we want to look at just retail sales. And we also do some segmentation. So maybe we want to look at just our top products and how our top products are performing. I can just dynamically slice and dice this over here using our slicers. Maybe I want to look at poor products instead. see how we can right the ship with some of these products. So again, everything's interactive and drillable, so we can really get to the information that we need in order to make better decisions. Brooke, how are we doing on time?
Let's see. We're getting a little close. We usually want to try and leave about 10 minutes for questions and answers. So,
Okay. Well, I'll just show one other cool thing here. So machine learning is being actually built in. So automated machine learning is being built into a lot of these modern BI tools, and Power BI is no exception. So if I open up this other sales report here, you'll notice that I have this Q&A feature up here. So if I launch this Q&A feature, what that's doing is using other natural language processing technology. So that as a business user, I don't need to know SQL or call the IT department. I just need to just come ask a question about my data. So if I want to figure out what the gross profit for my top let's say 5 customers, I can come in here and just type that, and let's call it sales amount by top 5 customers. So Power BI is just going to naturally just automatically create these smart visuals and based on the data fields that you put into this query. So maybe I want to look at this by my different channels as well. So I can just start to simply ask a question here and get the answers via this natural language query technology. And then I'll also show you the ability to do some forecasting here, as well as some other automated insights. So if I come in here, let's say I'm in a meeting and it's like, yeah, we have our forecast coming out for 3 periods. Well, I actually need a 6-month forecast for my sales. So I can come in here and edit this report. And if I come over here to the analytics tab, then you'll see I have this forecasting option here. So I can quickly update this on the fly without having to know anything about exponential smoothing algorithms or any of that. I can come in here and say, well, let's forecast for 9 months and ignore the last 3 months, which gives us a 6-month forecast at a 95% confidence interval, and seasonality. So we have 12 months in a year, so we'll set that to 12 and apply that. Now you can see my forecast is updated now to show me the 6-month forecast. So again, this is all dynamic. So maybe I want to see through my different channels here for retail how that's forecasted. Maybe I want to look at the Northeast and see how these different forecast changes based on the data that I select. So really cool features being built in via machine learning and AI. And one other one that I'll show you real fast is if we right click on here, we can see we have a decline in sales between March and April. So if I choose to analyze, Power BI is going to run a series of machine learning algorithms to automatically explain, well, why do we have a 30% decrease in sales between March and April? Well, it looks like televisions and refrigerators were a large component of that decline. And so we can also, scroll through. There's a lot of different insights that Power BI found. So I can scroll through and see all of these components to why we had that 30% decrease in sales amount. All right, so let's just you can kind of see how powerful these modern BI tools are for really finding insights in order to make better data-driven decisions. So let's switch back over and I'll just recap what we saw here. So as I showed, our quick launch solution translates the cryptic backend of JD Edwards. So we're renaming tables like the FO101 to be address and data fields like MCMCU into business unit, and we're converting dates and decimals and also renaming your UDCs and CAT codes with business friendly names. Then we have, three phases or layers of our quick launch solution. The first is the data preparation phase. So you can choose whether, the tabular model gets loaded either direct connect or through a mirrored copy of your transaction system, which is the operational data store, or even an option for having a full enterprise data warehouse. And then the second phase is the single version of truth, which I mentioned was a component of becoming data driven. And this is the SaaS tabular model that we deliver. We support JDE security as well as Active Directory security, and we have thousands of business fields already defined, as well as thousands of business measures as well. And then the last phase is the data delivery phase. So this is where we have over 25 sample Power BI reports, as well as the Power BI templates, which I showed you in the demo today, and then some financial statements like income statements and balance sheets. Then as far as the implementation timeline is concerned, we've spent the thousands of hours building this out, and we can get our core content in place within a matter of a few days, and then get the system fully configured and customized within a few weeks. So I hope I've at least convinced everyone to go out and download Power BI Desktop and start exploring your own data, as well as consider using the quick launch for JDE solution to really speed up your time to insight and put you on the right path to becoming a data-driven business. And at this time, I can try and answer any questions that you may have, and maybe we want to show the results of the poll, Brooke.
Yeah, give me 1 second before I do that. I just want to cover a few follow-up items and then we'll get into our questions. Thank you so much for your presentation and demo. That was great. I just want to follow a few cover-up items and then we'll go into our question and answer section of our webcast. Our webcast today is part of our free ongoing educational webcast series on JD Edwards. And currently earlier you saw our webcast listed on the screen. To view our most up-to-date schedule, you can go to getgsi.com/webcasts. And we provide free educational resources for the JD Edwards community, including our weekly webcast, our monthly newsletter called the GSI Insider, and our online resource center where you can access on-demand webcasts, white papers, and a lot more. And we also host on-site and virtual workshops. And if you'd like to sign up for our weekly email reminders, you can go to create an account on our website. Right over here, you select the JD Edwards platform, and then you click on newsletter. All right, so let me see if I can share the results of the poll really quick with you guys. All right. Can everybody see that?
So it looks like we got 24% that feel like they are using analytics to drive decision making, and about majority 68% that have access to data or some access to data for decision making, but most do not. So it seems like there's always room for improvement, no matter where you are in your analytics maturity. So hopefully our attendees gained a little bit of insight in how they can advance that maturity of analytics within their company.
Great, thank you. All right, I see we have a couple of questions, and I would like to remind everybody that if you would still like to submit a question, you can do so through the question panel in your GoToWebinar console window on the right side of your screen. And if you minimized your console earlier, just click the left-facing arrow to redisplay the questions panel. All right, David, our first question is from Mark, and he says, is it possible to integrate Power BI dashboards and reports into a web application?
It sure is, yep. So there's a few different product SKUs available from Microsoft to do that, but you can integrate dashboards and as well as reports into your custom applications, whether that's a web app or some other application that you're using, perhaps on the manufacturing floor or what have you. So embedded analytics, operational analytics is definitely a strength of Power BI. They have a full set of KPIs, excuse me, not KPIs, APIs available for you to do embedded analytics.
Great. Thank you so much. And our next question is from Raphael, and he says, excellent presentation. Just a question on the publish feature. This is not included in the free desktop version, correct?
It is. So by default, every Power BI desktop has the ability to publish as long as you have a account registered within the Power BI service. So if you go in and you sign up for powerbi.com, you'll have your own personal My Workspace, which is similar to like your My Documents folder on your computer, where you can publish your reports that you create in the Power BI desktop to your My Workspace in the Power BI service, so you can see what that experience is like and get some of the features that are available within the Power BI cloud service. However, if you want to start sharing those reports and maybe publishing to a shared workspace like the sales workspace that I demoed before, that's when you're going to have to pay the $9.99 I believe is the price per month for the Power BI Pro license.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Well, it looks like that appears to be the end of our questions today. I want to thank everybody for your questions, and thank you so much, David, for your answers and your wonderful presentation today. And as a follow-up from today's webcast, we ask that you complete a short 1-minute survey when you exit. You will be receiving an email with a link to our resource center on our website, where you can access a recording from today's webcast, as well as a copy of the presentation. And after today's webcast, we will do the drawing for the $25 Amazon gift card, and anyone that attended the entire webcast will be eligible, and we will notify the winner. And if you have any follow-up questions, you can contact David or I, and you can see our contact info on the screen right now. Well, again, thank you, everybody, and thank you again, David.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Brooke, and have a great weekend, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a great day.